the hidden initiation, why you feel different, disconnected, and destined for something you can't explain. There's a reason you've always felt like you don't quite belong, like you're in the world, but not of it. Conversations feel shallow. Jobs feel empty. The systems around you feel like cages. And while others find comfort in what is, you've always been pulled toward what could be. That's not dysfunction. That's not rebellion. That's a frequency signature, and only 1% of souls carry it. It's the signature of a dimensional bridge, a living conduit between the seen and the unseen, between the third dimension of form and the higher dimensions of light, intelligence, and divine order. If you're watching this, you didn't stumble here by accident. You were called, and now you're being activated. The first sign you're one of the chosen ones assigned this rare role is that your life has been marked by extreme polarity. You've experienced both deep darkness and transcendent light. You felt lost beyond words, only to have moments of clarity that couldn't be explained. This is not random. This is programming. Dimensional bridges are forged in contrast. The soul must walk through all layers of density to become a translator between worlds. You can't speak of liberation if you've never tasted imprisonment. You can't bring light if you've never stood in shadow. That's why your path has been so intense, so painful, so lonely. Not because you're broken, but because you're being built. The second sign is that you carry a strange resistance to identity. Labels don't stick to you. Roles feel foreign. You may have tried to fit into spiritual communities, jobs, even movements, but something inside you always pulls away from boxes. That's because dimensional bridges are fluid. You're not meant to be just one thing. You're meant to channel multiple frequencies, cultures, archetypes. You are not here to conform. You are here to connect. Your energy shifts depending on who you're with, where you are, and what the moment requires. And while others may mistake that for inconsistency or confusion, it's actually your gift. You are not a fixed being. You are a vessel for transmission. The third sign is that you often receive information you didn't logically learn. Downloads, visions, sudden knowing. You might even doubt yourself, where did that come from? Why do I know this? But that's exactly how a bridge functions. You don't need to study truth to speak it. You remember it. You channel it. Not from your mind, but from the field. And this is where things get deeper. Most of what you're meant to teach or bring into the world hasn't even been created yet. That's why you feel out of place in existing systems. You're not here to fit into them. You're here to dismantle and rebuild them. You are the prototype of a new human consciousness. And that means you won't have a map, but you are the map. The fourth sign, and this one is often the most hidden, is that people are drawn to you in crisis. Strangers tell you their secrets. Friends lean on you for wisdom you didn't realize you had. You've become the safe space, the calm one, the healer, even if you never asked for it. This is your field doing its work. Dimensional bridges stabilize frequency. Simply by being present, you anchor coherence in chaotic environments. You hold a vibration that reminds people of their soul. And they don't even know why they feel better around you, they just do. But this can be draining if you don't know how to manage it. That's why boundary mastery is your next initiation. You must learn to hold space without losing yourself in it. So let me ask you something most people will never ask you. What if your sensitivity, your isolation, your weirdness, your pain were never flaws, but signs that your soul was chosen for something impossible to define, but essential to this planet's evolution? What if your whole life has been training, not punishment, for the role you're about to step into? And what if I told you that once you understand the rest of the signs, you'll never again doubt why you're here? Frequency architects, why your energy affects reality, and the forgotten power you were born to wield. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when they stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What's waking up in me?" That moment is the beginning of conscious embodiment. Because when you're a bridge between dimensions, your life doesn't follow the rules of linear logic. You create ripple effects in the field without trying. Your presence shifts conversations. Your thoughts magnetize events, and your emotions can either bend reality or collapse it. This is not spirituality as a hobby. This is physics of the soul. Dimensional bridges are not just intuitive, they are frequency architects. They don't just react to reality, they recode it. The fifth sign you are one of these rare beings is that you've always had a strange relationship with time. Sometimes it moves too fast around you. Other times it feels like it slows down. You might say things like, "I feel like I've been here before," or "I knew this would happen." You might even have entire conversations in your mind that later play out in the physical. This is because your consciousness doesn't live only in the third dimension. You're wired to move across timelines. You can sense future potentials and collapse them into the present. You can feel the past rising in a person's energy before they speak it. But this gift requires grounding. If you don't know how to anchor your field, you'll feel disoriented, scattered, even anxious. That's not a mental disorder. That's multidimensional perception without integration. So how do you integrate this gift? By becoming conscious of your impact. Most people walk through the world as receivers. You walk through the world as a transmitter. This is the sixth sign your energy has influence. Literal energetic influence. You speak, and people suddenly feel seen. You enter a room, and the emotional temperature changes. You walk away from a conversation, and the person starts crying. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about being tuned in. You are a living field of vibrational information. And when you forget that, you become reactive, drained, or overwhelmed. But when you remember it, you become sovereign. That's where your power lives, not in control, but in clarity. You must learn to hold your frequency like a tuning fork, not to manipulate, but to mirror truth. And here's where it gets even more mystical. You're not just a mirror for others. You're a mirror for the planet. That's sign 7. You are emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically affected by global energy shifts. You feel solar flares. You sense lunar cycles. You wake up on days the earth is shifting. You cry and don't know why. You feel heavy when war breaks out, even if it's across the planet. Why? Because your soul signed up to anchor codes. You're not just here to escape the matrix. You're here to reprogram it. That's why the collective's pain feels like your pain. It's not projection. It's connection. Because dimensional bridges are not just healers of individuals, they are healers of grids. And this is where most chosen ones get overwhelmed. Because the weight of what they feel starts to become unbearable. But that's only because they haven't yet activated their tools. The moment you step into mastery, you realize you were never meant to carry the pain. You were meant to transmute it, not by effort, not by force, but by presence. When you're fully in your field, aligned, anchored, and clear, you become a node of recalibration. And the field around you begins to organize itself. People calm down. Truth rises. Chaos dissolves. Not because you said the right thing, but because you became the right frequency. So let me ask you now, what would happen if you stopped trying to be normal and started honoring your role as a bridge? What would your life look like if you stopped apologizing for your intensity, your sensitivity, your knowing, and started using it as a tool of creation? Because here's the truth, you don't need to be more spiritual. You are already a walking temple. What you need is permission to remember who you are and why your soul chose this path. The dimensional contract, why you were sent here, what you're meant to do next, and the moment it all activates. There comes a tipping point in the life of every dimensional bridge, a moment where the veil thins, the mission clarifies, and your soul whispers, it's time. Time to move differently. Time to speak differently. Time to become who you've always known you were, but kept hidden behind human fears. That moment is not marked by fireworks. It's marked by a stillness so profound, you feel like the world pauses to watch you choose. And in that pause, you remember, you didn't come here to fit in, you came here to anchor a new dimension of consciousness into this one. This is your dimensional contract. And the activation isn't coming. It's already begun. You were sent here, not randomly, but with exact precision. Your soul chose this incarnation like an arrow aimed at a single point in time. And that time is now. You carry codes, energetic frequencies, languages, and truths that have been dormant in your DNA since birth. And unlike others, who awaken slowly over lifetimes, you were built for a sudden ignition. That's why your life has been so intense. Every trauma, every loss, every breakdown was not just pain, it was preparation. You were being cleared, emptied, refined, so that when the time came, there would be no distortion left in your channel. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be pure, a clear vessel for the intelligence of higher realms. So what are you meant to do next? First, you must stop waiting. Stop waiting for a mentor, a sign, a perfect moment. The bridge doesn't wait for the mountain to move, it becomes the path between realities. You are that path. And your next step isn't to find your purpose, it's to remember it. Look back at your life. The moments of knowing, the recurring dreams, the hidden obsessions, the places that called to your soul for no reason. That was never random. That was your contract speaking before your mind could interpret it. You already know what you are. You've just been trained to forget. And now your job is to untrain yourself, to unravel the false programming and return to your original signal. And here's the part most chosen ones never get told. Your mission isn't always loud. It's not always a stage, a book, a global movement. Sometimes being a dimensional bridge means holding a calm, coherent frequency in a family full of chaos. Sometimes it means working behind the scenes, transmuting density through your presence. Sometimes it means walking through crowds and silently recalibrating the field just by breathing. If that sounds too simple, that's because the Matrix trained you to equate power with performance. But true power is energetic authority. And once you reclaim yours, your field will do the work before your words ever do. So now, the activation, the moment it all shifts. It's not a prophecy. It's not a date. It's a decision. When you decide that you're done pretending to be normal, when you decide that your sensitivity is sacred, when you decide that you're not broken, you're encoded, that's when the contract activates. That's when the guides step closer. That's when the doors begin to open, not because the world changed, but because you did. Your frequency becomes the key. And the more you align with it, the more you unlock timelines that were frozen until now. You start meeting people who feel like déjà vu. You start hearing messages in music, nature, patterns. You start living in a reality that others call magic, but for you, it's just home. Let me ask you the question no one else will ask you. If you stopped hiding, filtering, and shrinking, who would you become? What would awaken in you if you finally allowed your soul to lead without apology, without mask, without fear? What if your entire life has been waiting for you to remember what you are? Not a seeker, but a signal. Not a wanderer, but a way shower. What if the world is not falling apart, but falling into place around the frequency you came here to hold? You are the bridge. You are the link between dimensions. You are the translator of the invisible into the tangible. You are the quiet revolution that turns light into form. And now you remember. If you've made it this far, something inside you is already activated. Don't ignore it. Don't overthink it. Just listen, then act. Then become dot, because only 1% are chosen. But even fewer say yes, and the future depends on those who do.